Hey guys, and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to quickly show you guys how to take an icon or an image and text and place it on a perspective grid. Alright, so the first thing that we were going to need is a few basic elements just to get a grid set up. So these are a few horizontal lines, and what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to select them all, and I'm going to take one of these edges and I'm actually going to just skew them down until they reach a common vanishing point. All right, and this will be my first vanishing point that I create. Okay, so going to that point, and what you can see is, or what you can think about this as physical parallel lines going to a single vanishing point. All right, so now I'm just going to select um, these lines that I just created, and then I'm going to duplicate them to create another vanishing point, which will be my 2-point perspective grid. Right. So now the interesting thing that I want that you can see here is when you start moving the vanishing points, all right, further apart or closer to each other, then you get the zooming effect. But actually, what's happening is you're actually playing around with the lens of the camera and the focal length. All right. So that's about how technical I want to go in this video. But it's interesting to notice. Okay, so what I've done is I've already set up two basic perspective grids, 1 point and a 3 point, and I quickly want to show you guys how I'm going to put some elements on there. All right, just want to put in the horizontal lines here, or the verticals. Sorry. All right, and this grid is good to go. You can actually work on that. So here's two grids. Okay, I designed, or I created them exactly the same way, and now I want to put these elements on here. All right, I want to apply perspective to this two-dimensional image, and this is the 3-point perspective where the verticals actually converge to a point as well. Okay, so we'll see the effect there. All right, so the most important part is just to, if you've set up this grid, then you actually have some kind of basic understanding of this already. So with the 2D image, what you want to do is you want to create a bounding box around this so that you can think of you would rather want to place a rectangle on here, right? Especially if you're starting out with this with these grids. You would rather want to put a rectangle on here instead of like all these elements it's not defined or anything like that. So what I want to do is I want to create this bounding box, and then I just have to rely on this grid and use this. The verticals stay vertical, and the lines that I want to go into depth, they need to converge with the vanishing with the physical parallel lines that converge to the vanishing point. Okay, so what I'm actually doing is I'm taking the physical parallel line, all right, we have to think about this, and I'm actually putting it on the converging physical lines into depth. That's how I place the image. So just make sure everything is horizontal and everything is vertical, and then the distortion, or what you can see, that's a different element to play with. All right, then you have to know how to move the camera, how to move around in 3D space. Okay, so this is just distortion. All right, okay, and even though you can't see the image, all right, so I'm just going to move it up to another parallel line. So basically in space what I did was move it a little bit left, then we will be able to see more of the side, all right, a little bit more. Okay, and then just play around with the distortion. Okay, so now we can place this element all over this grid. Okay, so now I'm going to cross the center line, which is the camera aiming into space, and I'm going to work on the right. Okay, so same thing applied. I'm just going to take the bounding box and start aligning it to all these grid lines that I created. Okay, and even though you're not working on a grid line, you can always add or work in between them. All right, just make sure you follow the same conversion, same distortion, and everything. right? So you can see if you move it around, actually, it's not following the rules of perspective anymore. Okay, now I'm going to place this on the ground plane. So this is why the XYZ system, and I did a video on this, is very important to know, or to keep in mind how to stay in control of this video, how to stay in control of the image, or the drawing that you're actually doing on these grids, because it can get quite confusing. Right. So now if you know how to move the horizontal line up and down, you can actually move the angle that you're actually looking at these image. Right. So let's move this to the top again and to the right. And you can add elements now, you can take away elements now. The thing that I just showed you guys there is that if you already distorted the image and you flatten it out, it's better just to start over and use the bounding box that's around the, not the skewed perspective bounding box, but the 2D one. Right, same thing. I'm going to put this on the grid, on these grid lines. And I actually placed this one wrong. Alright, so you see that the left corner there should come down a bit and just follow that line. So even though you make a small mistake like this, alright, so okay, I've straightened that out, but the vanishing point is still bright. You can get away with little mistakes, but if you look at the bigger picture, or the main thing, you will notice if something is off. Alright. So on a 3-point perspective, same thing applies. I'm just going to take this bounding box, and I can work all over the grid if I wanted to, and I'm just going to follow the grid lines. Right? As easy as that. The most difficult part is starting to get to know perspective and to know how to use this. Alright? Then it takes like 2 minutes to set up these grids. It's like less than 30 seconds to place an image and to start manipulating your images and your drawings, so that you can actually have something that's interesting, especially with camera shots and all those things, perspective. Alright, so there's the elements placed all over these grids, and you can do the same for the right hand side. Okay, so let's quickly, the grid that I made at the beginning, let's just place something on there. I'm just going to create a rectangle, simple rectangle. Take the Marquee tool, just fill it with paint, and then just place it. So I'm going to place this on the plane that's converging to the right vanishing point. Alright. So when you start to learn perspective or know perspective, you get used to these planes. And it's important because you want to know on which plane you work and which space is facing which side. Right. So basics again, just follow the grid lines. Okay, now I'm going to duplicate this, but I have to scale this a little bit down. Alright, so now it's actually moving to the right. Okay, so it's essentially, or it's the same dimension rectangle, but it's now moving into perspective. So these two rectangles are exactly the same, and they are duplicated. Alright, I hope this video was helpful, guys. It's not a technical video, not much information was given, but I hope you guys just saw how easy it is to create illusions on these grids, okay, by even just following few simple basic steps. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video, and yeah, have a nice